Hey everybody, DeLongshot Signatures here. This is episode 116 of my 2024 TTM returns. I have two successes to share in this video. Usually I'll wait a little bit longer to get returns, to get several of them in. But these two are pretty good, and there's no guarantee I get any tomorrow, and I have the time to make the video. So let's do that. The first one we have is a college football player, potential NFL draft prospect. As of his rankings right now, looks like he probably won't get drafted, but would be like a priority undrafted free agent. Regardless, we got a 3 of 2 success in 20 days from Kentucky offensive lineman Eli Cox. So he signed both of these photos, which turned out great. And thankfully, he used an actual Sharpie and let it dry first before putting it in, so the signatures came out great on that. And he also wrote a note on my letter of request at the bottom. Said, "Thank you for all those nice words. Playing for the Wildcats and in the SEC has been a dream come true for me. As I am writing this myself and the team are prepping to beat Louisville. This will be my last ever game wearing my Kentucky uniform. I hope to make you," and I think it's Big Blue Nation, proud one more time. I think that's what BBN stands for, and then signed Eli Cox at the bottom. So very, very cool. I'll have to keep up with that Kentucky-Louisville game when it happens. I think it's tomorrow, and see how he does. But as of right now, according to Draft Tech, they have him as the 295th overall prospect. Of course, there's only about 260 picks or so in the NFL draft, so he'd have to have a really good game, as well as a good pro day and, scouting combine to raise his draft stock. But, we'll see. And just because you're not drafted doesn't mean you can't at least make it to the NFL. So very cool to get that one back with a nice letter. The other one was a surprise. I sent out to some NHL goaltenders that I didn't already have in the collection, that I haven't tried at least once before. And this was one where I was like, I've been wanting to get this guy, but he has been able to play in the NHL for a little bit. So, we'll see what happens. And this guy has a pretty interesting story on how he made it to the NHL. But we have a 2 of 2 success in 20 days from Flyers goaltender Ivan Fedotov. I think that's how it's pronounced. Forever, everyone said Fedotov, but I don't know if that's correct. But he holds the distinction of being the tallest ever goaltender to play in the NHL at 6'8". The next tallest guys were 6'7". He was a 7th round draft pick, I think, in 2015. So he's taking his time to develop, but that's expected with goalies. He played in the KHL, which adds another wrinkle to it. Generally, when you are a KHL player, you're under a contract for at least 2 years. So a lot of times when teams draft these guys, they're expecting not to have that player for at least a couple seasons, maybe even longer, just kind of depending on how it all works out. But with a goaltender, you're more willing to take that risk because you probably weren't going to be playing him anytime soon at this that early in their career. He attempted to sign a contract with the Flyers. Then the KHL said he wasn't allowed to do that, and then they signed him. But then he tried to come to the NHL, but they were like, he's not under a legally binding contract, and they had to get the IIHF involved. It was a whole ordeal. And then the Flyers signed him to a contract, and they're like, we're not going to play him this year, but we want to at least have him under contract in case, Russia tries to do anything else. And then Fedotov was arrested because they believed that he was trying to avoid military service, which I wasn't aware that was a thing. And this was during kind of the height after the Ukraine invasion of, U.S.-Russia tension in their relations and whatnot. And this was just kind of seen as another power play move, kind of along the same lines as, this is embarrassing, I don't remember her name, the WNBA player who was arrested and was held in jail for about a year. But Fedotov was arrested and then was sent to some remote barracks or something like that for a year, so he missed an entire season of hockey to fulfill his military service. But then finally last year he got to come to the United States and make his NHL debut, and then this is his first full season. I believe he now has 4 wins after tonight. The Flyers have just been bad, like not great, and their goaltender situation has been really all over the place with the departure of Carter Hart due to his stuff, legally that's going on. I'm not even going to talk about that. But interesting story there, and I'm super, super happy to get this back. I'm a big Flyers fan. Love collecting any players, past or present, that I can get from them. And to get another goaltender of theirs in the collection and an active player is really, really cool. So that is it for this one. Thank you guys for watching. I really appreciate it. It helps me out a lot. Best of luck with your guys' collecting. Take care.